if Darren Sammy has any pride, if Darren Sammy has any dignity, if Darren Sammy loves West Indies cricket as he claimed to do, then he must step down now. Absolutely now as coach. He has clearly lost the dressing room. There's no doubt about that. These players are not playing for Darren Sammy. Darren Sammy cannot motivate these set of players to play for him. And as a result, the West Indies cricket teams, they continue to go lower and lower under the leadership of Darren Sammy, and he must step down now. Pack your bags and go, Darren Sammy, because you have taken this team lower and lower and lower. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the #1 cricket channel in the Caribbean. I thank you for being here. I appreciate your company, and I look forward to a very interesting reaction between you in the chat and myself and our fellow community members in the chat. Today's show is brought to you by Van Dutch Choker Hat. It's durable and lightweight, built for all day wear. Grab yours by clicking on the Van Dutch link in the video description. So that's the Van Dutch Unisex Choker Hat, built for everyday wear. It's durable and it's long-lasting. Please also check out the Cricket Forum storefront on Amazon in the live chat. Click on those links in the video description and support the channel. This morning, when I woke up, West Indies was fielding. I look at the score and I saw Bangladesh 179 for 1 of 27 overs. Shortly after that, I think the gentleman at 91 slug sweep something down to deep mid-wicket and was out caught. But when I look at that score, the first thing came to my mind was, are they playing on a completely different strip? Because I think it was Banana Brooks who said yesterday that this third match will be played on the strip that the first match had played on. So I'm saying if that was the case, then a miracle had happened for this pitch to be playing so well. It's either that or the West Indies bowlers were poor, absolutely poor again. And when I saw Bangladesh starting to collapse, I realized that it was the West Indies bowlers were poor, absolutely poor, and they bowl a lot of rubbish. And even when we rein it back in, we still at the end serve up some off volleys and full toss, as Bangladesh was able to make 296 on that pitch. That is inexcusable. And Akeal Hosein 4 for 41 is commendable. Put up my hands to Akeal Hosein. But Even Akil Hosein going for 41 runs on that pitch is below standard. Bangladesh on that pitch should not have made 150. 130 on that pitch was par score. So the bowlers simper never came to the party. Never came to the party. You know, it boils down to the inability of our coach. Our coaches, led by the head coach who unpick his assistants, they do not have the ability to motivate these players because they have made so many unsubstantiated decisions. Decisions that are not in reality with what we see happening in the cricket. In 2023, when Carl Hooper, in replying to a question that I asked him, stated clearly that the team is going lower and lower if they continue on the present trend. And Darren Sammy, instead of taking the criticism constructively and debrief Carl Hooper and try to get some information from Carl Hooper, instigated the dismissal of Carl Hooper. And what we are seeing today is as a result of the incompetence, unqualified Darren Sammy as head coach of the West Indies cricket team. And I make no apology for that. And anyone, any single one that is listening to me, think that you should defend Darren Sammy, it's okay. Defend him if you have. Defend him if you want. But I can tell you this. If you think that Darren Sammy should remain head coach of the West Indies cricket team, you do not love West Indies cricket. I can tell you that. And I have no apology for that. When Darren Sammy was appointed West Indies head coach, 80% of the Caribbean did not agree with the decision. I myself did not agree with the decision. But I explained to this wonderful community. Wasn't as large then, just over 10,000. Now we are approaching 30,000 thanks to you. I explained then that if I'm the CEO of a company, I would like to get the person that I have the most confidence in. And although Darren Sammy was not qualified for the job, he's still not qualified, and I am mature enough, intelligent enough to know that you may not qualify, but you are competent. I am intelligent enough to know that. But in this case, Darren Sammy has proven not that he's only unqualified, but he's proven that he's incompetent, he's out of his depth, and he's taking the West Indies team lower. Anyone who wishes to defend Darren Sammy, you can do so. But answer this question. When you look at the West Indies team in 2023, when the present head coach took over that team. Look back at that team, which has not been good. The team is not good. These players are not good. No, they're not good. I know that they're not good. But look back at where the team was in 2025, in 2023, and look at the team now. We were losing matches then, but look back at the totals we are making now compared to those totals we were making then. So Cricket West Indies put out an advertisement for a head coach. In it, the advertisement clearly stated that you need a level 3 to qualify for the job. Up until this day, Darren Sammy still have a level 2. So how did he get the job? If the advertisement said a level 3 and he has a level 2, how did he get the job? So those of you who are defending Sammy, tell me that, answer that. Cricket West Indies, the advertisement clearly said a level 3. You need a level 3 with certain level of experience and so on. So tell me, how did he get the job? It clearly, he got the job because the president wanted him. And again, I'm saying nothing wrong with the leader of the organization getting the man that he wants. But no coach with a losing record and clear evidence that the teams are making lower and lower score than they did 2 years ago. No other international elite team would keep a coach that long. So what is it about Darren Sammy why he cannot be fired? What is it? Must we stay here and allow the team to go lower and lower and lower and don't say anything about it? Clearly, the coach was unable to motivate those bowlers. It's a clear sign that he's unable to get them to play at their very, very best. They're not good. They are not good. But Lord, man, we must can compete with Bangladesh. We must, man. Too many cronyism decisions. You know? And when I say this, it's going to hurt some persons. And let me say Augusti. I know that is, some persons are going to say the name pronounced Ogis, but I want to say Augusti because that's how I pronounce it. That's how I pronounce it. So unless he comes on the channel and tell me that's not how his name pronounced, then I'll continue to pronounce it that way. And I want to make it clear. I have absolutely nothing against the young man. He's making his ODI debut, and this is his second match. And everyone in this community long enough would know that we in this community, we do not go in on a player in the initial stage of their career. So this comment is not going in on a Gusty. I'm not going in on a Gusty. And I wish him a long and fruitful career. You know, over the years, you have seen many young batsmen who we think would have developed, and they fall by the wayside, and I hope this will not be the case with this young man. It was recently, we saw Joel Andrew, and we hope that he bounced back, because when we were saying that it was too early to pick him, Darren Sammy would not listen, and he picked him. The young man did not deliver, and he dropped the young man. What is that doing to his mental health? So I'm not going in on the player. So although I call his name, I'm referring to the decision of the coach to play Augusti ahead of Amir Django. I am not also saying that if Django had played, would have won this match. That's not what I'm saying. I am pointing out that decision to be the last one in a long, exhaustive list of poor decisions because of his incompetence that the West Indies head coach is making. The Joel Andrew one was one. And we pray and hope that is not going to happen to Augusti. So I know most of you understand what I'm saying, and most of you can separate the two different issues that I'm raising. But this gentleman has made so many poor decisions since he took over as head coach. And that is why the team is going lower and lower and lower. Yes, we weren't winning before he took over. We never had a winning record before he took over. But Lord, man, the scores weren't so low. We would have least been competing with Bangladesh. 20 years ago, when we were playing against Bangladesh, they were the one who were being bowled out for 100 and mash while we make 300. So why is it then that they have improved and we have not? And we try to pussyfoot around the issues because when our favorite player failed, there's positive toxicity. You know, I could go on and on this morning, you know. I could really go on and on this morning. But I'll give you a chance. I'll give you a chance to hear your views. I want to hear your views. Definitely want to hear your views. Because this can't continue. If we love West Indies cricket, because clearly it's West Indies cricket I love, you know. I don't like any other players. It's West Indies cricket I love. And maybe that come across, when I say I don't like any other players, I don't hate them either. I don't know anything about them to like them or hate them. But I want them to do good so that West Indies cricket will be here for those who are coming when we are long since dead and buried. We don't want it to be that West Indies cricket becomes extinct in our generation, in our lifetime, and it becomes an associate member. Because we are really falling down the ladder quickly. In the space of 30 years, we have dropped from number 1 to the very bottom of the full member barrels. Teams that when we used to play them in the past, you used to have pity on them and hope that they will get to 150 or get to 200. No, Lord. Oh, Lord. Those teams have passed us. Oh. They have better infrastructure than us, of course. Bangladesh have better infrastructure. Sri Lanka have better infrastructure than us. Afghanistan, war-torn Afghanistan, have better infrastructure than us. Nepal has better infrastructure than us. So we need infrastructure. Oh, yes. We need some infrastructure. We need some first-class infrastructure. Nepal is getting more money from the ICC than us. Bangladesh is getting more money from the ICC than us. Sri Lanka, South Africa, they are getting more money from the ICC than us. Zimbabwe, better infrastructure than us, and they are getting more money from the ICC than us. So the easy way to improve our cricket is that we need more money from the ICC and we need to put in some better infrastructure, and then we will improve our cricket. Because while I have no doubt in my mind that Darren Sammy should go and Darren Sammy should go now, the players are also under the crosshair. And I've dealt with the players many occasions. From as far back as 2022, 2023, and John P. Nicol and 007 and Supernova, telling me rubbish. If they had taken those steps that I've listed then, cricket wouldn't be in the state that is in. And we must get rid of player power. We must get rid of player power. We must, we must get rid of player power. We have to get rid of player power. One of the most striking thing that I can't understand is that we lost a match, and when whosoever is doing the interview, like say the captain or the head coach or whosoever is doing the interview, and a reporter will say, ask the question, what preparation have you made for the next match because you lost the first match? What are you going to do different? Here the West Indies reply. And you can check it out here, We have a talk about it, we rest, we have a talk about it, and the guys them decide that they will do better. You know, we have a good long talk about it. So all they do is talk, 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 and they don't train. Oh my Lord, talk, talk, talk. You know, many times I say things, you know, but tell me, I come into your comments because I could go on and on all day, you know. But there's a press briefing about the hurricane that is coming up, and I want to catch that. It probably already started. If I'm the coach of a team, I'm not out. It does has to be the West Indies team. All right, the West Indies team. I'm the coach of the West Indies team. I know if there was not player power, if a man like Justin Langer or Chandakat Pandit was coaching this team, let me tell you what would have happened after we lose the first one-day international. Let me tell you what would have happened. They would have found some bowlers in Sri Lanka who are similar to the bowlers that are playing for Sri Lanka. They would get some leg spin and so on. They would get some bowlers. And somewhere they would find a pitch or ask somebody to prepare a pitch similar to the one that they play on. And they would go and they would train on that pitch all day. Having those net bowlers bowling to their batsman so that they would have somebody bowling leg spin, somebody bowling half spin similar to Mehidi, somebody bowling leg spin similar to Rashad, and Nasom and all of those guys, and Saif. That's what those coaches would have done. But what West Indies do, we have a good chat about it, you know. We talk, and the guys know that they need to do better. The guys, them know that they need to find a way. The best way to find a way is to get a similar pitch somewhere in Sri Lanka, get some net bowlers to try and replicate what you are going to face in the match. Which one give you a better chance of succeeding? Talking or trying to replicate what you're going to do in the match? And I say, which one give you a better chance? Because you can do all the work. You can do all the work. And the next day you get a one ball. So that's why I said, which one give you a better chance? But because we have a coach that is out of his depth, he doesn't understand those. Because we have a coach that lost the dressing room, he cannot get these guys to play. Look at the body language of those guys. I saw this morning Chase pick up a ball. The batsman in his crease, no one backing up, because although Greaves delivered the ball, he doesn't try to get back to the stump. But nonetheless, that's and those are basic cricket. But in this case, the batsman was home. When Chase has the ball in his hand, the batsman was home. And it's like he said, let me try to do some target practice. Shy hit down the stump, and the batsman, they get a second run. Now I'm telling you, you know, I am telling you. And you all know that I defend Chase for the one-day team. He should be nowhere near the test team. Much more captain. But for the one-day team and the ODI team, for me, he's up to this time, but maybe looking back at his performance now. But I would call Chase and said, listen to me, if you do that again, you will never play. You will never play. You will never play. Never play if you do that again. Never. Never. Lawrence Spencer, good morning, is saying that fire Sammy and the board. Someone please do something. I agree with you. Someone need to do something. What is happening here? You know? And so there are persons, there are persons who want to put forward the idea that no one can get this team to do better. And I keep on making the point that if no one can get the team to do better, then we need no one to be coach. It's as simple as that, No one can get the team to do better, so we don't need anyone to be coach. Because nobody can get it better, so we are wasting money. It's better than we invest that money in some grassroots program that we are used paying. There are 10 persons with the team in India, none playing, 10. The head coach, 3 assistant coach, the physio, strength and condition, the masseuse, that is 7. The manager, that is 8. Yeah, 10. 9, I think the media officer. There's one more. 10 persons with the team. As poor as the batting was, we cannot let it overshadow how poor Moti has been with the ball. We made that point last year. We made that point yesterday. Definitely. According to data, it is I. Thank you for the laugh. According to data, Sammy must be dropped. Sammy would agree because he liked data. I'm sure that he would agree. Our dear friend Roxanne Gray saying, I'm very disappointed with West Indies. We would not even win the series. Very heartbroken. Yes, very heartbroken. And I predicted that we would have won this series 2-1. And I also predicted that we would have lose the T20 series. So I'm praying and hoping that I'm wrong on both counts. Yes. So now that we have lost the ODI series, which I got it wrong because I predicted that we would have won it 2-1. I predicted that we would have lost the T20 series. So I hope that I'm wrong and that we should win that series. I understand. West Indies team look like someone forced them out of their bed to come and play this match. Michael Douglas, that is when you have player power. That is when the coach lost the dressing room. That is when the players no longer believe that the coach can improve them. That is when the players no longer believe in the competence and the tactics and the strategy of the coach because they felt even defeated before they go on the field. So if that's what your observation is, well, I am sorry, but that's how you have to interpret that. The players are not even playing for themselves, much less for the coach or the Caribbean public. Patrick Lambert, I made this point all the time, and I don't want to belabor it because I've made it on so many comprehensive. I do not want the players to play for me. I just want them to play for themselves and their family. I don't want them to play for the Caribbean people. Play for themselves and their family. Because I'm reasoning it, Patrick Lambert, that if they are playing for themselves and their family, they will demonstrate some pride and they will perform at a high standard. But clearly, my challenge is right now is that when you look back at 2023 and you look back at the team now, the numbers are worse than what they were in 2023. And again, I said we weren't losing then. We weren't winning then. These players are not good. We know that they are not good. But my Lord, man, they have gotten worse. They have gotten worse. They have gotten worse. Yeah, you know. Michael Duggar said it. The team was absolute. I'm not good at emoji, you know. You know. Shu Shen is saying that seems like we have to call in the legends again. But elaborate on that more, though, Shu Shen, because exactly what the legends are going to do if we don't get rid of player power. You know, if we are not making those basic steps, like you lose a match, and when you lose the match, you go and talk about it instead of go and work on it. I told you 2-3 weeks ago, the tennis player Sinner, his name is Skinner, I think Sinner from Italy. He won the match. 2 hours, 1 minute, 3 sets, 6-3, 6-2, 6-3. He won the match. And he won the match, and half an hour later, he was on the court practicing. He was on the practice court practicing. 2 hours later, the television's camera spanned to the practice court again. There he was in an intense practice session. We lose match and we talk about it. Where are we going? Oh Lord, where are we going? Good morning, Jamur Small. West Indies played today without any intent. Obviously, Bangladesh came out with a different game plan and put off West Indies bowlers with the opening partnership. But the West Indies players just give up after that. Yes, true. Sammy must go and his staff. Well, if he goes, his staff will go because generally the head coach select his staff. So it's not that West Indies would have selected this assistant and gave him, you know. Blessed morning to you, Philip Bain. Steve Anderson is saying that under Sammy, it's 1 step forward and 5 steps back. It's okay, Curly Joe, to say you don't agree with my sentiments, but then you have not provided an alternative and you have not answered the questions that I asked to prove those questions that I asked differently. What I'm disappointed about, though, Curly Joe, is that you said I am emotional. And the reason why I'm disappointed in that is because I'm beginning to wonder if you don't have any emotion. Because as far as I know, human beings are emotional beings. So I'm kind of disappointed, and that you said that I'm emotional. I'm always emotional. And I don't know if there are times when you are not. And I don't know if you said it to mean a bad thing. And that's why I'm disappointed, because are you telling me that you don't have any emotions? Ijo, human beings by definition are emotional, and I wear my emotion on my sleeve proudly because I'm a human being. So apart from the human being perspective of it, Joe, apart from the human being, and I'm disappointed, and why I say I'm disappointed is that because you let me feel that you don't have any emotion. And I know that you do, because you're a human being. By definition, humans have emotions, you know? So I'm always emotional. So I don't know the point that you're getting at. But secondly, do you think any rational, well-thinking logics will make you support the West Indies team? To support the West Indies team is emotional. This team is so terrible that if you were running a business and the business performing so poorly, you'd have shut it down. That would have been a rational decision. If we were supporting the West Indies team through rationality, we would have stopped a long time ago. It's emotion why we are supporting the West Indies team. And it is emotion why you are backing an incompetent, unqualified coach, because there's no rational reason for you to back Darren Sammy. It's emotional why you're backing him. All right? So I wish all right. What's the person name again? Joe. So thank you for your comment. I hope you appreciate my response. Top of the morning, Mr. Casanova. Yeah, I agree with you, Wilmot Watson. And as I made the point, once you fire Darren Sammy, you fired all of them because he is the one who unpicked them. The three assistant coaches, he's the one who unpicked them. I don't think he unpicked the manager. The physio, the strength and fitness coach, whatsoever his name is, the masseuse. I don't think he unpicked those. I think those are employee of West Indies cricket and so on. But for sure, though, the coaching staff, he is the one who unpicked them. It is I saying that we are the laughing stock of the cricketing world. Someone said that with tears and remorse and vexation. Wow, let's not be vexed. Philip Baines is saying, qualified or not, the result leads to one conclusion. But yeah, qualified or not, because I trying to make, I think I made the point that you can be unqualified but still competent. It's a fact that he's not qualified for the job. He has a level 2. The advertised position was for a level 3 coach. So that's a fact, but it doesn't take away, you can be unqualified and still competent. And that is why, if you look back at the videos when he was employed, that is why, although I did not agree with the decision, I supported it. Everyone can say that. But now he's proven that he's incompetent, he's out of his depth, he's lost the dressing room, he cannot motivate these players to play. So I agree with your comment that he should exit as coach. Yeah, that is crystal clear. I turned off the match to at 90 odd for 8. Couldn't watch anymore. Yeah. Darren said, Mr. Casanova, Darren Sammy and team are destroying West Indies cricket. They need to go. Rutherford data is like Sammy artificial. It is we need a coach, to be honest. To be fair, these set of players, along with a few others, they are the best we have in the Caribbean. But the point I am making is that these set of players can play better. What we have seen is that they are playing worse. That's So a bad set of players are getting worse under this coach. That's all we are saying. So we want a coach that will incrementally, we're not looking for persons to move their average from 25 to 40 in a year time. No, we're not asking for that. But if you can move your average from 25 to even 28 in a year time, we'll be satisfied with that, because we would have seen progression. When you're standing in a line, you don't have a problem standing in the line, The problem you have is when the line is not moving. if you get into that rhythm in that line and you see that line moving, you don't have a problem. When you're in traffic, even if the traffic is moving slowly, but the traffic is moving, you accept that the traffic is moving slowly. But there's consistency of movement and you're getting somewhere. What gets you frustrated and get your road rage and cause road rage is when the traffic just stop and it doesn't seem to be moving. That's what so that's what we want for the West Indies cricket team. We're not asking for them to speed along the highway. We just want them to gradually roll along Marcus Garvey Drive at 5:30 in the evening. You know? When you leave Tinsapen and you're heading to Portmore after you leave Marcus Garvey Drive, so you floor your pedal because you get to drive a little faster before you reach the toll. I'm not asking for that. That's gradually. But what happened? The West Indies team, we appear to make a U-turn right out where Max's is. We make a U-turn. You know where Maxi is? Maxi tire place. We make a U-turn and we're heading back to downtown Kingston. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge. Yeah, well, I have done that. I have done that, Mikel. And you see, a lot of persons who probably listen to the show for half a 30 minutes or so on, we have held everybody accountable. Mike Gill, we have held everybody accountable. But I just made the point that under this coach, a bad team is getting worse. And that's all we are saying. Sam was an average cricketer, so was Reefer. Did we expect better? Wilmot Watson, yes, they were average cricketer, but we all know that average cricketers can be great coach. Have you ever heard about Chandakat Pandit yet? You have never heard about him, but he's one of the very best, most highly respected coach in India. So, and they say that great coaches, great athletes don't usually be great coaches because they are so great and their thought process is so superior to the average person. They are not able to understand why the average person can't do what they are telling them to do because it's so easy for them. So they're average players, but that doesn't mean they couldn't be good coach, Wilson. I don't think other countries are laughing, but perhaps looking on with sadness, or dare I say pity, said Banana Brooks. Probably, yes. Playing all spins never work out. Should have played Seals in this match. So much runs they give away. All those drop catches. We dropped so many catches. I think one of the time they call 6. And you know something, Raxon, something that I look at? Look at that catch that Athanaze took off his bowling. Magnificent. Absolutely world class. But look at the sitter that he dropped on the boundary. Do you look at that and say these players are just simple, not motivated to play for each other? It's something that you look at. And who do you blame for that? You blame the coach. Not for the drop catch, but for the motivation of the players to play. The number one objective of the coach is to improve the performance of the team and win matches. That's his objective. To win cricket matches, improve the performance of the team. But in order to win cricket matches consistently and to consistently improve the performance of the team, one of the things that you must be able to do is to motivate the players to give off their best. I don't know, remember who said it, but the person said that I would run through a wall for my coach. I know he's not talking about a literal wall, but you get the picture because that's how motivated he is. That he will run through a wall for his coach. Coaching and man management matters, said Lou Prudent. I am concerned about the direction we are heading and does not bode well at all. I agree with you. I agree with you, Lou Prudent, on that one. And please, I am a St. Lucian, but will not support him only for him being my fellow in Islanders. It is truly ridiculous. One of the things, Lou Prudent, is that those persons, including the West Indies president, who believe that we criticize Darren Sammy because he's from St. Lucia, he should come and tell us what Sammy is doing well. And let us test it. Tell us what Sammy is doing well. Because that's really indefensible. It shows that you cannot defend. When you divulge into that personal realm, because I remember when Courtney Walsh was captain of the was coach of the women team, and I came here and I called for Courtney Walsh to be fired. Last year I saw him and he called me over and we have a drink, So the head coach knows that on a personal level, I have nothing against him. What I'm doing is critiquing the West Indies head coach. It's nothing personal against Darren Sammy. And I said it a few days ago. If tomorrow morning Darren Sammy was no longer the West Indies head coach, I would not remember him. Because I would now focus on the next coach. So it's nothing personal. It's just about the West Indies head coach. It's just about the West Indies head coach. West Indies Sports is saying, I feel insulted when they make appeals to us, the fans, for support, said West Indies Sports. Yeah, I understand where you're going. I understand where you're going, West Indies Sports, and I can understand someone feel insulted by that, I can understand. I understand. I we are at the bottom of the barrel with Zimbabwe. True. I saw the comments person are saying that Sammy is not to be blamed and the players are to be blamed. I don't need to respond to those comments. I choose not to because as I said probably about 3 minutes ago, to say that Sammy is not to be blamed. It's all right, it's your opinion. I can't bash you for your opinion. To say the players are to be blamed and not Sammy, I can't bash you for your opinion. I am happy that I'm in a position where I lay my critique was not only for the coaching staff, but also for the players. So I'm happy in that position. I have made that, I have said it over and over again. And I can't bash you for saying that. I can't. It's your opinion. I respect your opinion. What I'm asking you for, though, is to tell me the things that Sammy is doing well. So thank you for your opinion, but I'm asking you, what are the things that Sammy is doing well? And so that we can move the discussion forward, because it's all a discussion, it's all a sharing of opinion. We welcome opinions. I think Joe said that I was emotional, but I'm always, and I dealt with that. It's all sharing of opinions, we share our opinions. We sure. I think though she mixed up dynamism with emotion, and I think that's what. Yeah, I think that's what. I found some major issues with cricket within the Caribbean as Guyanese. Selection process from the grassroots level. Some of the players are not financial well off, don't even be considered in camp. Now, I, I'm trying to understand the theme of what you're saying, Marcus. And this is something that I've been saying. And you'll find that you may find that my comment doesn't necessarily support your argument. If you drive through Jamaica any evening after school, and if it was possible for you to drive from Moran Point to Negril Point along the south coast and go back along the north coast, if it was possible for you to do that, you would have seen thousands of little children and their mothers and parents and fathers waiting for them at the side of the field as they play football. And they are paying, they are paying for those little toddlers to learn football. On the other hand, when a child has shown some potential in cricket, the parents 95% of the time don't care one bit. They leave it up to the coach. That child have to find their own way to train. That child have to find their own way back home. No car waiting on them, no hug from the parent waiting on them at the side of the field. I also know, though, Marcus, that just like in education, if you have a bright child and you are poor, and once that child is performing, the government and people and organizations will find a way to let that child succeed. They will provide the financial resources. If a young man or a young girl can play cricket and they are performing and they have the right attitude and they are respectful to people, they will get support. People will support them. People are genuinely good enough. Persons genuinely have a good heart, and everyone wants to associate with success. So even if that child is from a poor family, if they have respect, the right attitude, and no one is asking anyone to be subservient, we're not asking them that. And if they are performing and they are dedicated, then they will get help, naturally get help. So I don't necessarily. Michael Douglas is saying Ruston Chase kind of full toss just sum up West Indies cricket. I'm glad you brought that up, Michael, because I never saw the original dismissal. I saw the full toss. I saw the ball hitting the bat, and I was saying, was that a full toss or was that into the pitch? So I never quite sure because I never saw the original, but I asked myself it. But Chase, boy, Chase, is Darren Sammy the problem? Put another coach, see if it wouldn't get worse. No, I'm certain SOS Music Labor. And you see, and I'm glad you commented, SOS Music Labor, because you see, when I was asking those questions earlier, my mind ran on you, SOS Music Labor. By the way, SOS Music Labor is Darren Sammy lawyer. So my mind ran on you, and I'm saying that I bet you SOS Music Labor is not coming here to answer any of the questions that I asked. But he's going to come here with an unsubstantiated comment. And so I am not surprised of that comment by SOS Music Labor. But what I want to say is that I have a lot of confidence that Carl Hooper can get better results than Darren Sammy. I have a lot of confidence that if you make Carl Hooper head coach, the batting will start improve. And as I'm saying, you're not driving along Highway 2000 you're not driving not any one of the highway. You are rolling along Marcus Garvey Drive in peak hour traffic. That's the type of improvement that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a high speed. I'm talking about that gradual improvement of the batting. Make Carl Hooper the head coach of the West Indies cricket team. I challenge anyone. I challenge the president. I challenge the director of cricket. Fire Darren Sammy and make Carl Hooper the head coach of West Indies cricket. And I tell you right now that you see improvement in the batting. Right now, I'm telling you, in a year time, not even a year time, in 3 months' time, you will start see batsmen at the crease who, when you see them batting, you're going to say, oh, I have confidence in him. And by a year time, I am telling you, you will see that 2% increase in their average. But in 3 months' time, you're going to see that our batsmen shape different at the crease. You're going to see that they look more solid. You're going to see that they are timing the ball better. The average might not improve right away, but in a year time, it will move up by at least 2 percentage points. I am telling you. I have no doubt in my mind that Carl Hooper can improve the batting of this West Indies team. I have no doubt in my mind. I'm very happy that Sammy Lawyer is here. Very, very happy that he's here. Why bowl so much spin 2 games in a row? It worked once, but will never work again. Terrible planning, said Tyrell. It's all right. I'm inclined. I don't think any cricket player without a genuine pacer, right? I think you always need at least one genuine pacer in your team. But I want to cut him some slacks on that one. And I get the point that you're making. I get the point you're making, T. I get the point. And you're saying that it worked once. But what about the idea that if you do something and win, you try to repeat it? What about that idea? But I get your point, and I as I said, I always believe that at least one genuine fast bowler should be in my playing 11. But I really think what happened today in T is that he was unable to motivate the team. He has lost the dressing room These guys don't believe in him anymore. They don't have any confidence in what he's telling them. They're not holding on to his word, you know? Yeah. Imagine getting outbowled by Alec Atanes twice. You know, and I made a point about Gudakesh Moti. He has really, he has really fallen off. That is the truth, Mr. Brown. Database. Base. My back foot, our coaching staff is out of their depth, you know. Ever since Shallow went into politics, he started playing politics with the cricket, and the cricket is plummeting. West Indies sports, yes, we are going lower. Thank you, Atina. Please hit that like button. Please hit that like button. We appreciate it. Carrie Pierce, what is the solution? Otis Gibson round 2. I leave it up to Carl Hooper. I have confidence that Carl Hooper can make this team better. And one would say I'm campaigning for Carl Hooper. If you want to say that, it's okay. I don't know the man. Never spoke to the man except for that interview when I asked him the question. I don't know the man. I doubt if the man would even talk to me. You know? But I don't think that would employ somebody like Pandit. Pandit don't want this job because of the culture. And there'll be too many controversy for somebody like Chakandra Pandit or Justin Langer to take over this team, because they will have to start operating at a higher standard, absolute higher standard. You know, I gave you the example earlier, and you don't lose a match and then go have a meeting. You lose a match and go train. That's how Langer and Chandakad Pandit do it. And that would be some challenges. It will be controversial. You know, I think Carl Hooper is a similar man. Maybe not as strict, but he can get them to move in that direction. But what I'm saying to this community and everyone who love West Indies cricket, if you love the players more than West Indies cricket, I can't ask you to do this. But if you love West Indies cricket more than individual players, if we get a coach and you hear the players, them start screaming, squealing, that is when you have to back the coach, because it means that he's pushing them harder than they usually be. You see, if we start supporting the players, when your great-grandchildren or great-great-grandchildren come around and they are very good, there'll be no West Indies cricket for them to earn from. None. You know? So, still amazes me how Shea Hope is our best batsman and continuously being pushed down the batting order. Most of his ODI runs came as an opener, then moved to 3, then to 4, and now 5. Definitely unacceptable. If Shea Hope is batting at 5, he want to bat at 5, you know, so I can't blame the coach for that, because Shea Hope is the captain. If Shea Hope said that he's opening, he will open. If he said that he wants to bat at 3, so I think Shea Hope will bat wherever he wants to bat. Sport June, I said I never imagined Bangladesh beating West Indies, you know. So SOS Music is saying that Bangladesh cricket is improving. Wonderful. I never know that SOS Music label. So tell me, what's the magic? What's the magic why Bangladesh cricket is improving? And ours is going lower and lower. What's the magic? There must be some magic to it, don't? There must be some magic. They have better infrastructure than us. They get more money from the ICC than us. That's what we hear. Those are the two things that we hear. We need better infrastructure, and we need more money from the ICC. Those are the two things we hear. So SOS Music label said Bangladesh cricket is improving. So I want to say that we have to conclude then that Bangladesh have better infrastructure and they are getting more money from the ICC than us. So, but that's what I hear all the time. If we want to improve, we need better infrastructure and we need to start getting more money from the ICC. You cannot defend a coach when the team is performing worse under him. If so, then what is the standard of the coach, said Wilsonmans. Wilsonmans, they're not going to answer those questions, you know. They're not going to answer those questions. Find it hard for Rutherford poor form. He's not been dropped. You can see his body language even in the field. He's not fully committed. Amir Jangu coming off a half century should have played, said Puff. Patrick Davey, how you doing, man? Good morning to you too, man. It don't matter what we do, it won't be better. I agree Sammy should go. You have seen a lot of schoolboy cricket and look at the standard. Yes, I believe though, Patrick Davey, that's another challenge. I have seen a lot of schoolboy cricket. I travel around the island, cover schoolboy cricket, you know. So I've seen a lot of schoolboy cricket in Jamaica. The standard is poor. I agree. But if you get Excelsior reached the final of Excelsior won the Grey Shield for the last 2 years. If you become coach of Excelsior and they won the Grey Shield for the last 2 years, Excelsior High School, and then 5 years' time, they can't even make the quarterfinals. You know? So as poor as the standard is, if the team is getting poorer, worse under you, you know. Now, SOS Music Label, you are defending Sammy, so you come with the numbers. Because you are defending Sammy, so that's why I say to Joe that he said that I'm emotional, and I'm saying that the reason why he's defending Sammy is because he too is emotional, because there's no rational numbers to justify defending Sammy. So as I like to say to you, SOS Music, as all human beings, we are emotional. You are defending Sammy from an emotional point of view and not a rational point of view, because you come here every day defending Sammy and you don't know the numbers. Come with the numbers. I know the numbers, but I'm deliberately not going to provide Sammy numbers for you when you are defending him. But if you come with the wrong number, I'm going to tell you that you are misrepresenting the fact. You know, so you come with the number. You are defending Sammy. You are defending Sammy. So come with the number. Good day to you, Prasad. We want the legends to take over from the apex to the bottom. We want to see one of the legends be the president of the board. My take on that, I'm not here saying that a legend has to be the president of the board. But I agree with you, Prasad, that we need past players with the requisite skills in the echelons, in the high echelons. Is it echelons or echelons? Echelons, I think, of West Indies cricket. I don't believe that both the president and the vice president should not have represented the West Indies. So you can have a president who never represented the West Indies, but then his vice president or her vice president should have represented the West Indies, and vice versa. So if the president is someone who represents the West Indies, then he or she could have a vice president that doesn't necessarily represent the West Indies. In other words, those two top positions, one of those two top positions, in my book, should be filled by a past West Indies player with the requisite skills. That's my view. That's how I see it. And I don't think that a president and a vice president should run separately. I think they should run as a slate, and the slate should be voted for. That's so you have a slate and you see the skills. So I am a non-cricketer running for the presidency. Well, okay, I'm going to have a cricketer as my vice president on the slate. I am going to pick the best in class treasurer that I think, you know, to manage the affairs. I'm going to pick the best in class secretary in the Caribbean that I think, and so on. So you have a slate and you present a slate, and you know that slate is governing West Indies cricket. Yes. And I think that the 3-year term, they raise it from 2 to 3 years. I don't have an issue with that. I also think that it should be raised to 5 years. I think it should be 5 years. So why? I don't know. I don't know why it didn't play. West Indies cricketers need to be committed to playing the long version of the game because this is where skills are learned and this will improve performance along all formats. Yes, that's a well-established point, a well agreed on theory that it is put forward to. The thing about it, and I said this, that human beings are so necessarily mad that not to be mad is another form of madness. I'm just reacting to a comment that someone made. Administrators need to accept this and that we don't have the skills to perform roles. You see, Mikel Arthur, skills, you're not born with skills. Do you think that Steve Smith, Joe Root, Kane Williamson, Virat Kohli, Shubman Gill, do you think they're born with the high level of skill that they are displaying and call the rest of them? Aiden Markram, do you think that Rabada keep on calling on the batsman, Pat Cummins, Bumrah? They never born with the skill. They develop the skills. And that's what we keep on saying. That's the point I keep on making. That's the point this community keep on making, that we do not practice our skill hard enough to improve them. We keep on making the point that a West Indies player might be practicing to reverse sweep. And in reverse sweep, 20 deliveries. And when they reverse sweep, the 21st one, it looked good and he played it well and it looked perfect. He stopped because he think he perfect it. Joe Root is going to practice it another 3,000 times because Joe Root is not practicing it to get it right. Joe Root is practicing it until he cannot get it wrong. That's the difference between us. So skills, you don't born with it, you develop it. So, and this is something that we go over all the while, That comment that the poster make, I don't remember his name now because it passed by, is like accepting mediocrity. So, it's what it is, so leave it there. I am not in that. I am not in that. And Arlette, good morning to you. Thank you. Big up yourself, man. I appreciate you very much being here. Sport Junior saying that we need a longer first class season. I would have addressed that in the past. Persons are asking why Amir Django didn't play. That I addressed that in the past. Franz Beckenbauer and Brandon McCallum said Ian James, and two notable exceptions to the outstanding players can't be great coaches theory. Thank you, Ian James. Yes, yes. Thank you for that point. We need to call back Darren. You know, those are not the issues. The issues is, you know, I said it. I said it. Carl Hooper. I'll replace him with Carl Hooper. Carl Hooper, and allow Carl Hooper to get his assistant. But because I am convinced that Carl Hooper can elevate this team that look incrementally. Good morning, Mr. Brown. Everything that you are saying, you are right, said Barrington Oilet. You let my head swell, dear Barrington Oilet. Thank you, though, for those kind sentiments. I appreciate them. They need to get on the phone and call back Carl Hooper now. If they need to apologize to him for whatever reason, apologize and get him back as a batting coach. I agree. I want to see him take over. I want to see Hooper in charge. Because I may be wrong, you know. I can be wrong, but because my reading of the situation is that Darren Sammy has lost the dressing room. The players have no confidence in him. These players are not playing for him. They don't believe in what he's telling them. That's my reading of the situation. So I just think that they need to clear out and put Carl Hooper in charge to be the coach. Yes. So SOS Music Labor now. SOS Music Labor is my good friend. And SOS Music Labor, I want to find another word, but forgive me for using that word. But that comment is disrespecting the people of the Caribbean to think that we do not have the mindset to achieve greatness. You know, it's disrespectful, SOS Music Labor, and I think you need to apologize to every single person in the Caribbean to make such a comment, because I think you are saying that we do not have the ability to achieve greatness. And we do have the mentality. We do have the mentality here. Gerald Music, my good friend. Thank you, man. How you doing, Gerald Music? Big up yourself. Big up yourself, Gerald Music. Respect to you every time, man. An example of a failing one-man selection policy. That's something that needs to be addressed to, Gerald Music. And I asked Bascom about it, and the clipping is on the home page. When I asked Bascom about it, I said that, do you know that England tried this twice and it failed already? And he was shocked. You know, so they never done their research. And I fully agree with that one, Gerald Music. And I think that everybody, I don't see anyone who is disagreeing with that decision about the one-man selection policy. No matter how they frame it, and no matter how they tell you that he has a talent manager and he has the final say. Which one of those guys, the talent manager or whatsoever they call him, which one of those guys can say to Darren Sammy, play Django and don't play Agustí? Who in the West Indies setup? I'm just using those two names because those are the two competing names at the time now. Nothing against either of the players. Tell me, which one of those guys you think can say to Darren Sammy, no man, we need to play seals. We just can't, the pitch is turning, but we need to play our best fast bowler. There might be a case where he can be effective on this pitch. Which one of those guys can say that to him and still keep their job? You know, which one of those? Tyrone Marshall is saying shameless bunch of cricketers. Marlon Samuel should be batting coach. SOS Music Labor. That won't happen. That won't happen, and we know why that won't happen. Good morning to you, Vela. Anyone who loves the game will have to be emotional. Yeah, and we are emotional beings, Vela. I mean, it's natural. And I always say that, tell me which sensible person will follow West Indies cricket on the grounds of rationality. It's because we are emotional about it. There's no, which how can it be a rational decision for you to get up out of your warm, nice bed with your loving partner and leave him or her in that bed and get up and come out in your living room, wrapped up under a blanket, forced to make a cup of tea, and watch this West Indies team losing match after match after match? That's not rational. That's emotional. Those are emotional decisions. You understand, Joe? Those are emotional decisions. We support the West Indies team from an emotional point of view, not from a rational point of view. No way, no way. Shamar Joseph is a prime example of how we could get support if they are good. Thank you, Bet. Absolutely. Absolutely, Bet. Prime example. If you're good, you're dedicated, have the right attitude, be respectful, persons will always support you. Yes, man. Carlton Heyman said, I'm very upset the way we played today. Yes, yes. Was the wicket acceptable under ICC rule? That's something that we are looking forward to the ratings. To the ratings. Thank you, Barrington. Yeah. SOS Music Label is saying that Gambia don't have to be teaching the India team to bat. But I put it to you, SOS Music Label, that if India don't win their upcoming series, and they're on the verge of losing 3-love against Australia in this ODI series, they're on a 2-love already. That I put it to you that if not the score, we're not talking the score, we're talking about the results. Because the reason why I came to the conclusion that Sammy should be out in an SOS Music Label, you were here when I was saying that Sammy should be in. You were here when even many persons were saying that he should be out. You were here. What changed my mind, for Sammy to be out, is not the results. It's the lowering of the standard. I put it to you, SOS Music Label. If Gambia should have the result that Sammy had over the last 2 years, he would not last that long in the job. Yes, he would not last long in the job. I believe most of the players are doing their best. They perform at the same level in every version of the game. Never Isaac, I don't know if you follow the numbers, but the numbers are not compatible with that statement that you made. The person who picked Sammy should be fired along with Sammy. Yes, I agree with that. Thank you very much. That doesn't mean he can't be a good coach. Darren Sammy was a failure too as a cricketer, absolute failure. It's by default. It's because if you're going to look at it I'm going to leave that one alone, Carl Hooper, because I still appreciate very much that Darren Sammy captained us to 2 World Cup victory. I appreciate that and I respect him for that. And so, if I respond to SOS Music Label comment there, I'll have to be ripping into Darren Sammy, and I don't want to do that. With West Indies Sport Carl Hooper, yes. Chanda Paul, no. Chanda Paul is not a best-in-class coach. He's not ready. So yes, Carl Hooper, but Chanda Paul, no. And I back Carl Hooper 100% to be the next West Indies coach because I'm convinced that he can make the team better, the batting better. And I know that he will choose a good bowling coach. I am confident that he can make the batting better. Chanda Paul, no, he's not best in class. Chanda Paul is terrible as a coach. Not as a legend of West Indies cricket. I need to make that point. As a West Indies cricket player, Chanda Paul was a legend. As a coach, no, he's not there. Yes, it's a music label. I think I read that. Yes. Reginald, I don't want to get myself in trouble. So too was Justin Greaves. You remember Justin Greaves 10 years ago? Percy was saying that he was a right-handed Brian Lara. We need to develop these talents. We need to develop these talents. So many of them have fallen by the wayside. Justin Greaves, Casey Carty, Alec Athanaze. I want to make a point about Alec Athanaze. And I'm going to ask the question. We saw Alec Athanaze bowling in these last two ODI matches. We saw him bowling earlier this year, last year. We saw him bowling for the past 3 years. And I have came to the conclusion, and I know most of you will agree with me, that what we saw from Alec Athanaze over these last two matches was a far better bowler than we saw back in 2023, 24. Far better bowler. Why then isn't he a far better batsman than what we saw in 2023? Why? Why can his bowling improve, but his batting cannot improve? I would love to know the answer for that. We need a good Australian coach. I don't have an issue with that. I'll go for Justin Langer. But one of the things one of the good attributes of Carl Hooper also is that he has lived in Australia so long, he has coached in Australia, and he has adopted their philosophies. He has learned their philosophy. So he has the Australian philosophy and he has the West Indies culture. And I think that will make him a very good player. Navrinja Singh said that he agreed with Carl Hooper as head coach and keep Rampal as a fast bowling coach. And we also need a good spin bowling coach, mentor said Navindra Singh. And okay, cool. And I don't have an issue with that because I think that Carl Hooper as the head coach can double up as a batting coach. So if you want to include a spin bowling coach, thank you for sharing your views. No others some will disagree, some will agree. I'm supporting the return of Carl Hooper if he wants to take back the job. Even Otis Gibson. Yes. Otis Gibson. But all right. As I said, you see these assistant role, I want to leave them up to the head coach because the head coach himself, he would know people and he would know people that he has confidence in and he would know people who can get the job done. So things like those, I would want to leave it up to the head coach as Cricket West Indies does, leave it up to the head coach to get in his assistants. But if he stick with Rampal, I don't have an issue. If he brings in Otis Gibson, I don't have an issue. If he doesn't want any of those, I still don't have an issue. The head coach must be allowed to select his own player. We did not lose the series. One lose only if they are competing. We did not compete. Okay, 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 Athena. That's deep though. That's very deep. Captain Heyman, I don't think we should go back to Simmons. I think Simmons have 3 go around. You know, it's similar to like the US presidency. After you have 2 go around, you step aside. I don't believe that he has 3 go around, I think, or 2. And I don't think I would not go back to him, I would not go back to him. Not because I'm not saying that it's a change in thought process. That's why I would not go back to him. Number 5 goes to the best batsman. Who is the latter stage of who is in a, Number 5 goes to the best batsman who is at the latter stage of their career. I don't quite pick up the point you're saying, my friend. Why Bangladesh is playing well is because they follow the basic of a successful ODI match and make everything what they have the best of it. Good point. I have always made that point. Not in those words, very good point. I support that very much. I can't recall Bangladesh ever passing 7 in the ranking, which improving. West Indies just garbage, said Michael Douglas. So you're saying that Bangladesh is not improving, it's just West Indies continue to get worse. All right, cool. Yeah. So, but that's all we ask for, isn't it? We just want them to do well for themselves. We don't. I don't want the West Indies players to play for me. I don't think any of you should want them to play for you. You should just want them to play for themselves. Chad Prescott is saying West Indies take this ODI squad against New Zealand in November. I hope West Indies play better cricket against New Zealand. West Indies need a new coach, ODI, and Test. Many persons will agree with you. We do hope that we play better against New Zealand. Then if we go down there and play against New Zealand and we do well, we are all going to celebrate again, I think if West Indies get beats at home next year by Sri Lanka, they will let Sammy go. I don't like to say if, because I want West Indies to win the T20 series coming up, Yeah, I don't like to use the word if the champion, but I want West Indies to win this. I want West Indies to win the T20 World Cup coming up next year. I want them to win the series against New Zealand. I want them to win the series against South Africa, and I want them to win the World Cup. So to predict West Indies losing, to contemplate West Indies losing, is always a difficult thing for me, the champions, as I just never want to look there. Sport Junior said Brian Lara for president. For me, I just want to see a West Indies player in this top echelons, either vice president or president. Whosoever that one is, everyone has their own opinion, and yeah, I don't have an issue with that. So this is it now, that I am getting the impression, one of the impression that I'm getting, and this is the best way to put it. One day, I asked my younger son what he wanted to be. He said he wants to be a bank manager. I was very disappointed with him, because not that I have a problem with the financial sector, but I thought that he would have said he wants to be a bank owner. Nonetheless, I was very disappointed. I accept the fact that that's what he wants. Probably when at that time I think he was in first form in high school. But he grow older, I'm saying that he probably become more ambitious and would want to be a bank owner. So what happened? My son want to be a bank owner. So when he comes home from school in the evenings, and I checked his work and so on and watch him do his homework and so on. When he gets his maths problem wrong, I clap him and said, well done. When he gets his accounts problem wrong, I clap him and say, well done. When he reach fifth form to do CXC, I somehow get my sources at CXC and track down his numbers. And I said to them, make sure my son get a pass, Yeah, because he's getting the maths problem wrong. He's getting the accounts problem wrong. But he's my son, so I can't tell him that he's getting the problem wrong. I have to still praise him. And so I talked to his teachers. His principal and I are good friends from our days at university. And I said, that man is my son, boss. So although him not do nothing in a school, although him I get them wrong, you have to make sure saying that a whole heap of awards at prize giving. So prize giving comes, he wins a lot of awards. CXC result comes and he gets his grade. And the persons at the university are my friends, and when he was at university studied banking and finance, and him come home at evening time and him a doing thing, and him can't solve the situations that arrive. I spot him on his shoulder and say, well done, young man, you're doing great. Because him can't solve it, so I spot him on his shoulder. My son I'm talking about. Spot him on his shoulder, say great. Him graduate from university and get a job in one of Jamaica's finest bank. And one day I was at the gym, and talking to one of the young lady at the gym, and I talking to her. I knew where she found out where she was working, and I said, do you know X? And she said, Rotty, that your son. Am I the dead stamp for you? And I said, yes. Him said, say him win all of the award them when could I win December? I said, no man, but he only for win them. Because, I'm win them. Because me contact the bank manager and say, although him is a worst worker, me still have to celebrate. Okay? And he's so good that one of the biggest bank in Jamaica have poached him from that bank. So you see, when my son came home in the evenings and he's getting the maths and the accounts wrong, because I don't want to tear him down, I said to him, boss, you are doing the right thing. Yes, you are doing the right thing, boss. Yeah. I said, Yeah, there was a what you call it, a slight interruption in the power supply. Probably we'll get more of that. The sky in Kingston, Jamaica is really getting cloudy. I hope we're still here. I hope we're still here. Just trying to find out if we are still here, but I know we are back. Are we back? I hope you're hearing me. I definitely hope that we are back. So are we back now? I think we're back. Tell me if we're back, please. So yeah. So in an effort not to tear down my own son when he's doing wrong, I did not tell him. I did not point it out. I did not criticize him. I did not correct him. I let him continue to do wrong. Because for him to succeed, even when he's doing wrong, I still have to praise him. That's the only way he can succeed, because all he needs to succeed is praise, not correction, not criticism, but praise, and he will succeed. That's all he needs to do to succeed. You know, all he needs. So I am telling you, for the West Indies team to succeed, we must stop criticize them. We must praise them. We must pay $100 per match, go and watch them. Those are the things we need to do. Stop criticize them. What we know, though, is those persons with those, let's call it positive toxicity, because we want to keep it calm here. We know, and we have long established that persons who do that is because they cannot defend the poor performance of their favorite player. So they can't come and say, boy, Rutherford playing well, because he's not. So they group everybody collectively and try to make it look like we are the bad ones, the ones who are demanding more. We are the bad ones. So that collective positiveness, I don't think those persons have the best interests of West Indies cricket at heart. They have the best interests of their favorite players or their countrymen. But their countrymen and their favorite players are doing so poor that singularly they cannot defend them. So collectively, they try to group it and to make it look like we are the bad persons. We are demanding more from the West Indies. That's what they do. Yeah. So Wafi are saying that we should do a show in T20. SOS Music Label is saying that Athenaeus was failing under Kohli. Sammy just taken over only in his second series. You hear that from SOS Music Label. So I can understand why SOS Music Label support the West Indies team, he doesn't understand that under Kohli, Athanaze actually have some half centuries, some big ones too. What's his highest score under Darren Sammy? And our point here, which we always making, because him can't come up with nothing, SOS music label can't come up with nothing. Can't come up with nothing. Because we already established that the players are not good, but under Darren Sammy is that their scores have become lower, and the person name who you call Athanaze is a prime example. Wow, If I was Sammy, I would fire Floyd Reefer and use him as a scapegoat to keep his job. Good point. That's what I would do too. Honestly, I would do that, Michael Douglas. Of course, if I'm in Darren Sammy's shoes and the pressure that I'm coming under, because you may think that I'm pressuring Darren Sammy. Check social media, and you'll see that yes, I want him out. Yes, I'm agitated. But you'll realize that my manners are mild to what is on social media. There are some ruthless persons who want him out, Yeah. You see, it's not about one individual, community members. It's about the collective improving. Remember that Brian Lara went to Sri Lanka. I think he made about 400 runs in the series, and West Indies still lose the series. So what we want, and that's something that we are moving away from. I'm trying to get this community to move away from it. Is that look at the bowling with the two Josephs and Seals and Warwickon, backed up by Anderson Phillip and Ewan Lane, and if push come to shove, what's the seamer there? Marquino Minley. We have a competitive bowling unit. If Seals alone was good, that bowling unit would not be good enough. If any one of the bowlers alone was good, was world class, that bowling unit would not be world class. So it's the same thing, is that we want 6 batsmen collectively as world class. So it's not a one batsman here that is going to save us, or a one batsman there. It never works with Chanda Paul. It never works with Brian Lara. We need a collective set of batsmen who are good. Also, we have to assess our batsmen thoroughly before admission into the team. Chase bowling is not worth keeping him in the team. We are fooling ourselves with a lot of these players, said Randy Beckers. Said officials. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. There's a blip in the power supply, which, as you know, it would knock out the internet. I thank you all for tuning in. I have no intention that this show was going to be so long. I wanted to go and watch the West Indies, the Jamaica press conference about the hurricane, as it's really getting dark outside. So 72% of you in the poll, I just double checking on the poll here, 72% of you in the poll believe that Darren Sammy is taking the team lower. 72% of you. I also agree with that. 72% is a big, big margin. 28% said no. I have seen a lot of comments from persons backing Darren Sammy, but the comments were more like personal, they were more generalization, but they were nothing specific. Nothing specific on why and the good that Darren Sammy is doing. So I'd really love to see, I would really love to see some comments from persons who are defending Darren Sammy, telling us about some of the good things that Darren Sammy is doing. Have a blessed day, everyone. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. The quiz that I was supposed to do today, that's off. That's why I'm here. So have a great day. Bye.